And welcome back to the Survivor PA Season 4 Recap Podcast. It is me, as always, Coach Drew, not joined by Julia today. She's still getting accustomed and used to being an adult down in Florida. So I'm riding solo, sort of, because we're joined today by Season 4 cast member Jordan. Jordan, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I'm really excited to kind of shoot the shit with you and try to get your mind set on a lot of things. I do have a couple of really big questions, one that you alluded to last week. But how are we doing?
Yeah, we're doing great. I'm really excited to be here. I kind of feel like, since it's just the two of us, I kind of feel like I'm the co-host this time. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited.
All right, so just getting right into it, what did you expect that fallout what do you expect the fallout to be coming back from the previous episode's tribal? Because it kind of seems like everyone just goes straight into, this is what needs to happen now. Like there is no, I'm glad. Oh, except for Lydia and J-Mac, but we'll get to that in a second. It seems like everyone's just like, no, this is what needs to happen, and that's basically how the episode is structured. It's like it's going to be J-Mac or it's going to be Liz, and we kind of go from there. So, what was your point of view on how all that went down?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like fallout from the previous tribal, obviously Lydia took it quite hard. But other than that, I would say I wasn't necessarily expecting a huge fallout, because I don't think it was like, a huge blindside or anything. I think we all kind of went in pretty much knowing what was going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I think you're reading that correctly, and that it happened, and we just kind of moved right along into the next kind of phase of figuring out what was going to happen next.
And it's a complete 180 from right after the Kayla vote out, where everyone's like, oh, I didn't want to do that. This is what I actually want to do. Now it was, yeah, we all wanted to do that, but now what's the move? Well, like, we have to make this. And so we have J-Mac and Lydia kind of talking it out. Lydia thinks the three of them, you three, should get rid of Liz or Jabbar. You don't want to do that. You lay the groundwork for where we inevitably end up as far as J-Mac going home. So how long had this been going on in your head? Was this a new thing that happened to that tribal, or, did you was it always in the works, I should say?
I would not say that it was completely new after that tribal. It had been kind of in my head for maybe a round or two. I legitimately was like very tight with J-Mac, as I'm sure you could tell, from the first minute of the game. And I was it wasn't even on my radar betraying them at any point, really, up until maybe around the round Kayla went. Because it was we worked really well together, and it was really easy to move forward as a unit, especially with Lydia in there as well. I feel like we made a really great unit, and it was a great way to propel us forward in the game. It wasn't until I really started thinking about what my end game might be that I started thinking, is that the best option for me? So it wasn't completely new, but it was fairly fresh within a couple of rounds.
So in the spot that we're in right now, you saying I potentially want to go after J-Mac, who is your ideal final three in that moment?
I think in that moment, my ideal final three would be me, obviously, along with Jabbar and Emily.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because, at least in my head, it was still very much, if a green gets to the end, they have a really good shot at this. And so I was pretty confident that I wanted to sit with all pinks. But I knew I didn't want it to be J-Mac, and I kind of felt like, not that I would have been opposed to sitting with Lydia, but I sort of, in my head, knew that if I made the move on J-Mac, it might burn the bridge with Lydia too. So I think that's why I was thinking Emily and Jabbar.
That's going to be a fun fallout for next episode. So we have an entire, and I will say that I really enjoyed this episode because the first half was just quaint little, chickpeas, this challenge where it's just memory and guessing. And then the second half is just straight strategy and probably my favorite strategizing segment of the entire season because there's so many layers to what's happening, and the vote gets flipped, between two folks. But we have this chickpea segment that really brightens everyone's spirits. For I don't know how long you guys spent around the chickpeas and Jabbar's juice. What was it about that moment that just got everyone? It seemed like it gave everyone their second wind.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, first of all, it was just purely like, okay, we're getting to eat now. But I think we fully like staged a coup on production. They were like, it's time for the next challenge, and we were like, actually, it's not. Because it had just been like go 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 since the beginning of that day, and we hadn't had time to we snapped on production and told them. Yeah, no, literally. We hadn't had any time to do anything, including like get one of these cans open and eat. And so at this point, we just said, I think someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what happened is we started to sit down to eat, and then production, like 2 seconds later, was like, okay, it's time. And we just decided, no.
Let me have my chickpeas.
Yeah, we said give us freaking 15 minutes. Like you've been torturing us with the mental stress of this day. Like we need to eat some chickpeas. And so, you heard J-Max saying, "What are you guys going to do about it?"
And I didn't understand. I obviously I didn't understand that entire context, but that makes way more sense. And going off of that, I think jumping the gun a little bit at Tribal, J-Mac even says, "Oh, we've only been at camp for like 20 minutes today." So how much time between this one and so how much time did you guys eventually like spend before you went into that next immunity challenge?
My recollection of being around the table is, I agree, Kira. I feel like we weren't there for a ridiculous amount of time, maybe like 20 minutes or something. Like, honestly, we would have been there for less time if we hadn't had to have figured out how to get into the cans without a can opener. So production really did that to themselves. I think we were very reasonable in our coup. We just demanded a reasonable amount of time to eat some chickpeas.
So last week you say, and this is something that I want to bring up to you. Last week you say, yeah, no matter what, I'm probably just going to throw the next immunity challenge. So we show up, we see what the challenge is going to be. It's going to be memory, guessing. Like I said, it's a very quaint challenge by comparison to a lot of the challenges you've done the last couple of weeks. And this is probably one of my favorites because there's some strategy to it, but there's a lot of luck that's involved. So for you, as someone who has vocally said, I'm going to try to throw this challenge, are you going through your head of how I can go through it? Did you throw the challenge? And were you lucked into a situation where it wouldn't look like you were doing that?
I mean, yeah, I definitely went in saying I don't want to win this challenge. I was actually a little bit nervous when I found out what it was because I was like, oh, it is very luck based. And so I was like, someone, myself included, could win this accidentally. And I was nervous because I was like, even if I win it accidentally, it doesn't matter that it's an accident. 3 in a row is 3 in a row. But fortunately, apparently, I'm not very good at Go Fish, so it didn't become an issue.
Yeah, you were dead last for most of it. So, and that's like it triggered in my head. I'm like, oh, he said this last week. He's going to be doing this. I wonder if there's some weird strategy you can go into this challenge to fill it because you had 0 points until I think the last round. You got maybe 1 on like Cochran. I think you got Cochran.
I did.
Yeah, towards the end. So for you, and for everybody else, at this point in the game, you guys have done a lot of strenuous challenges, going all the way back to the pre-swap portion of the game. David and his jeans, hashtag never forget. David and his jeans. For you, was this a nice reprieve? Did you see everyone kind of see hey, good, all we have to do is just stand here and guess. We don't even have to do memory like we had last week. It's literally just guessing and memorizing maybe one thing someone has said 3 seconds ago.
Yeah, I would say that's probably a good way to look at it. We, especially post chickpea coup, this is a great challenge to have, just standing around and playing a little card game. And so, yeah, it would have been tough after this whole us complaining that we hadn't had any time to just hang out. It would have been tough if they were like, okay, we're going to do a challenge where you have to run across the field and do all these crazy things. So this was a nice, kind of break.
Yeah, and so in this moment, you have said, "I want J-Mac gone. This is going to be potentially the move to get them out." As the challenge progresses and Kara eventually wins the challenge, do you feel the sense of do you feel the sense of, oh my god, I think we might be able to pull this off? Who were some of the other names going through your head in the event that J-Mac does win this? Because it is luck based, it's entirely possible that they could just win and then you have to just do whatever else. So what were some of the other ideas going through your head?
So I guess to answer the first part, I think it was a mixture of relief, but also dread, because it was like, ooh, I can do this plan now, but it was also, ooh, I can
Yeah.
do this plan now. I think if JMac had one, I may have been a little bit relieved because, contrary to what it looks like, I feel like I look stone cold in the episode. It was really hard for me to make that move. And so, yeah, I was relieved, but I was a little bit nervous. I don't remember what the second part of your question was.
Other ideas of people to go in the event that J-Mac wins.
Oh, sure. I think that in my head, if JMac had won, I would sort of just postpone this to a future vote and just kind of, again, move forward with the JMac Lydia group as though I had never been considering this.
So Jabbar or Liz, probably.
It would have probably been, yeah, I would have gone Jabbar or Liz. I think in my head it was more so Liz was the backup, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Which makes sense because Liz is kind of the only other name really being thrown out this episode. There's a few Jabbar thrown in there, but like it's mostly Liz and J-Mac. So Hera wins immunity, does not take the amulet. That's the second week in a row, I'm pretty sure, that no one has taken the amulet. I'm curious to see how much longer, that goes for. Hopefully forever. Emily refers to J-Mac as her number one, or at least J-Mac gives a confessional where Emily says that J-Mac is her number one. But J-Mac wants to ride with you. Like you are their person, beginning to end. I need to go to the end of Jordan.
Yeah.
You brought up beginning of the season, like y'all were ride or dies. Like this is, what was it about J-Mac that made you feel like this is, obviously up until here, that made you feel like them above everybody else for you?
Like as an alliance partner or as someone who
alliance member, just your thoughts on J-Mac throughout the game that made you feel like, hey, like we could do this up until here. Where, like, I mean, you've seen my notes. Like, I absolutely understand why you would try to get rid of them here. Like, that makes perfect sense.
So I think at first my perspective on J-Mac was, I mean, they are so charming and charismatic, and when they look at you and tell you something, you just believe it. Like, J-Mac is everything I would want an alliance partner, and I was not exaggerating. When J-Mac walked up, we were all standing there in silence. And I saw they were wearing a pink shirt. I was like, oh my god, incredible! That's the one. I don't even know what it was about it, but I locked in. And I felt that way. I love J-Mac. But I think the things that made them an incredible alliance partner also started to make them really scary to me.
Yeah.
It's hard to sit next to, in the end, somebody who's very charming and very charismatic and a great speaker and a great narrator. And so I think that was a big one. I wasn't sure how it would go in the end, just based on like presentation alone of like and reputation in the game. I think J-Mac was pretty universally well liked just as a person. But then I think the other thing for me was strategically, I think I would have had a tough time in the end against J-Mac because a lot of what we did was together.
Yeah.
We played very similarly. I think we even had very similar outlooks on like philosophy of the game.
Yeah.
And so I think I felt like I needed to differentiate myself. And I was concerned that the jury would give it to J-Mac over me because there's a reason at the merge that all of the Capo members wrote JMac.
Yeah.
It wasn't because they thought they were a floater. It was because they thought, I don't mean to put words in people's mouths, but I'm assuming it was because they thought JMac was the biggest threat. I think JMac had kind of a vibe of sort of being the leader of the old Lewiki tribe. And that's great as a shield, as JMac loves to say, but it is not great as a competitor in Final Tribal. So I think that's where I was at.
And it makes, because I sat here a few weeks ago and said Jordan is a great confessionalist, especially when you started getting more confessionals as the season progressed. JMac, and I can say this for a lot of people on this season, almost everyone on the season. You guys have charisma coming out of your ass. Like it's amazing how easy it is to watch all of you guys on my screen and not be on my phone or be on my phone taking notes, but like be on my phone doing anything else, because and Julie can say this too, I enjoy watching you guys on my screen. And I think JMac's a prime example of someone that, watching them talk to people in the game, you kind of feel like you're just there, and you become so entranced by what's saying that as an audience member, it's like, you probably should do this now. You should probably get rid of this person now, because if I'm a juror, I would say that, I would put more thought into who's coming off as who has the most charisma in that moment. And that could be still you, but it could have been you, it could be anybody else. But just based off of what we've been shown, and when it comes to everyone else, it seems like JMac has this allure about them. Same thing with you in confessionals. It's like, I want to sit down and see what Jordan has to say. This is you're welcome.
JMac definitely. I don't know if it's like, if you describe it as a mist. I don't know. There's just something, you just feel comfortable and safe when JMac's talking to you.
So we get into my favorite part of the episode. It was just the strategy in this episode, the strategic talks in this episode. It felt like 2 minutes, but it was probably about 10 to 12 minutes of it. So from your perspective, was it always JMac in a 5-2 vote? Did you feel like something did you think that your name was going to get written down? Where was your head at during all of this?
My head was fairly calm, but like, it was a mistake to be as calm as I was. I found out in watching the episode. I had no idea that Kira was not always on board with this plan. I found out when I watched the episode, like, literally, because in my head, and this is me, I guess, telling on myself that I was viewing things incorrectly, I really felt like Kira and Liz were in trouble, and they were going to jump at any chance to vote someone out that wasn't one of them. So I never even questioned. I was like, oh, of course Kira's going to do this with us. Like, why wouldn't she?
That's crazy.
Right. And so, watching her go around and like rat me out and like talking about the vote might switch to me, I was like, what? I will say one of the things that they didn't show was, and I can't promise this is the reason that this happened, but Emily was really going back and forth about this vote. And as I told you earlier, I wanted to go forward with Emily. And after the Tyler vote, Emily was really upset, as you will recall, about being left out. And yes, she was having an internal conflict for sure. But I promised Emily after the Tyler vote, I was like, I will never do that to you again. I'm never going to blindside you like that again. And so I knew that if I wanted a chance to move forward with Emily, I had to let her in on this vote. And she was going back and forth. I sat down with her forever, like trying to like convince her to do this. And I even told her at one point, I was like, if your internal conflict is that you don't want to write JMac, as long as you're okay with it, I think I have the votes to do it without you. Like, you won't have to write JMac, but I think we still have the 4 votes. Little did I know, I didn't really have Kira at all points. But then I also said, but I think it's better for you strategically to not just know about the plan, but be involved in the plan if it's going to happen. And so she went back and forth, but eventually settled on doing it. And it's funny that in the game, I thought it was important to get Emily's vote, not because I thought I needed it numbers-wise, but just, for that relationship.
Yeah.
Turns out I probably needed it numbers-wise.
And it's funny because I know this is probably the biggest cliche when it comes to Survivor, but perception and all of that. Yeah. If you're perceiving it that way, it isn't until moments like this, like watching the episode, where it's like, oh man, I was way off on that. Yep. And I think that's what the one of the many appeals of playing LRGs, specifically playing LRGs that do, whether it's live feeds or episodes, whatever. It's like you get to spend those months between when the game happened just talking to people, and you sometimes forget about that kind of stuff until the episode comes out. It's like, oh man, how have I never brought this up to people before? Like, that I thought that I was like fully in control of this entire thing. So the way that the episode is edited, once again, it's a fun little Lydia moment where it's basically like, hey, we should probably not tell Lydia this because Lydia might freak out and tell. And lo and behold, Lydia is told this from the hammock, and Lydia goes and tells J-Mac in that moment. And at that point, I'm like, oh God, and everyone that has come on here before, I've told you this, if you reach out to me saying, hey, can I come on, I really get spooked that this is your boot episode. So when that happened, I'm like, oh, Jordan's done. Like, holy shit, like, they're going to flip this on him. So and when we get to Tribal and we get, jumping ahead a little bit, we get a 2-2 at one point. I'm like, oh my God, like, where the hell did Jordan's name come from? I thought the other name was Lizard's Bar, wherever it was. And then, J-Mac goes home after that. I know I've asked you this. I don't know if you answered it. If I apologize for that. Did you expect your name to be written down?
No. Well, kind of. It's a hard question to answer. Going into Tribal, absolutely not. But another thing that was not shown is that during the voting, J-Mac leaned over to me and said something along the lines of, I know I'm going home. It's okay. And if you get to the end, I'll vote for you. Which I was so blindsided by because I had no idea that I thought this was going to be a blindside. And so I think, I don't even remember what my reaction was. I think I just was like, what? Like, I was so confused. Yeah. And so I think in that moment, it's not that I was expecting my name to be written down, but you see when they do the first Jordan, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, because I'm like, oh, J-Mac, okay, it makes sense. They know I've turned. But no, before that, I was not expecting my name at all.
Okay, so when there are 2 votes, Jordan, what goes through your head then? I know it's kind of quick, but like in that moment, can you remember how you felt? Like,
yeah, no. So the first vote, I was like, okay, J-Mac checks out, fine, whatever. The second vote shocked me a little bit because it didn't occur to me. I don't know why. It all happened so quickly. It didn't occur to me that like Lydia would have also known. So there was like no easy explanation for why I got a second vote. So yeah, I was a little bit spooked by that.
And J-Mac standing up, did anyone fall for it? I'm like, okay, because we spent all season talking about how, wow, they don't really show people looking for advantages and idols, which I appreciate, because unless you find something, I don't want to watch you looking for something. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, wouldn't that be a fun little trick for J-Mac to have found something forever ago, and then we have like a flashback edit? So did you buy it?
Oh, my heart dropped into my stomach when they stood up, because when they leaned over to me and said like, hey, I know I'm going home, whatever, part of me was like, is this their way of trying to like read me to see if they should play an idol or something? And so when they stood up, I was like, oh my God, this is it. So yeah, I totally fell for it.
And something I brought to you before we went on the air, Emily, Dan asked her a few questions And Emily starts talking about how some plans that had started at the beginning of the game might have not actually come to fruition. And you turn, I don't remember who's sitting right next to you, but you turn and kind of like are giving this bewildered look. So was that actual confusion? Was that a front? Like, what was actually going through your head in that moment?
It was a front because Emily was sitting there talking about how plans that were made at the beginning of the game have to change, and I was like panicking because I knew that she was talking about me and JMac. And so I think that was just my way of like looking at JMac, trying to be like, what is she talking about? Like, what does that answer mean? You know?
And James in their head, like, Jordan, stop.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm just doing it to someone who knows I flipped already.
So we have one more day left, right, in real time. Mm-hmm. From the editing perspective, point of view, it doesn't look like it's getting dark yet. So I don't know what time of day we're kind of sitting at right here. But at this moment, do you think, okay, if I can just get through maybe one more round, I'm sitting tomorrow, like I can spend tonight doing this, or has the next day not even started going in your mind yet?
I have to say, I don't know about anyone else. My brain was so occupied out there. I wasn't thinking about timing. I wasn't thinking about rounds. So I don't remember ever thinking about, when are they going to cut day 4 and move it to day 5. Yeah, that's really all I can say about that. I don't. It wasn't really a part of my thought process.
Okay. So as we start to wrap up a little bit here, Jedi goes home 5-2. They that we've both said they kind of saw it coming. They take with grace. They're out, and I expect nothing less. Y'all as a whole have been pretty good with that this season. What were in that moment? JMac is gone, and there's the relief of, oh my god, we pulled it off, but also this sucks. This is not going into spoiler territory, but in that moment, besides those thoughts, is it who the hell voted for me? Is it, well, God, now I might be looked at as, based off of your perspective, I might be looked at as like the mastermind of what just happened? What's kind of going through your head there?
So I will say, I think after thinking about it for a couple of seconds, I was like, oh, I bet the second vote was Lydia. Which is so sad that all of a sudden I was like, oh, obviously the 2 votes against me were JMac and Lydia, the 2 people that I've been working with the closest in this game. But I did that to myself. No, I think what I was thinking in the moment was, yeah, we just pulled that off. It's amazing. What is my path forward? And, obviously I don't want to say much about what actually happens, but yeah, I was definitely thinking about, at this point, Jabbar and Emily are kind of what I see as my path forward. And so that was just the next move, is thinking, okay, how do we get the 3 of us past 6?
And George,
I still have my extra vote also. So that's kind of where my head was at. I wasn't necessarily thinking that I would be viewed as the mastermind, because part of my argument when I was, telling people about this vote, I tried to frame it more so like when I was telling like Emily about it and whoever else. I tried to frame it as, obviously not like, well, this helps me have a better chance to win. I tried to frame it as, getting rid of JMac levels the playing field. We all lose to JMac. Once JMac's gone, we're all on an even level of having a shot to win. And so I think in my head, I was hoping that people were like, yeah, like, now we're all on even standing, and they would be looking at it as like something good for their own game, and not, well, Jordan just masterminded this plan.
Yeah.
And Kira, the extra vote was good until final 6.
Oh, so this would be the last time to use it. This upcoming episode would be the last time to use it. Okay, mm-hmm. Cool. Looking forward to that. Yeah. Any more things that happened off camera that you feel like would have given more context to this episode as a whole? Or do you feel like the story, from your point of view, was kind of told?
I think the story was mostly told. Like I said, I think the biggest thing that I didn't see was me talking with Emily, and I'm sure that other people were talking with Emily too. I guess it wasn't that crucial, but it was definitely a part of things. And then, yeah, there. I will also say this: there was Jabbar and Emily and I. This wasn't just an idea in my head. I mean, this we had talked about this this 3 for like a couple rounds prior. So that's more of a concrete thing. But yeah, I think mostly the story was fairly well told.
And this is a weird side note. I don't enjoy watching people be upset. It actually like makes me uncomfortable, but I really want to see Emily get upset again in the season because of how funny it was the first, or she's just so visibly aggravated at everyone that I need to see that again, or I just go back and watch the episode. It reminds me of Joe from the season of 48 that this ended with him in the hammock and David saying, "Oh, you broke your word," and it's like Joe could kill you right now. You don't understand.
Emily has a great like stone cold face.
He does. So that is my little side note there. Yeah, I'm really excited for this end game. I've been saying this all week, or not all week, all season. It's the Jabbar side eye, and it's the Emily death stare.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. I'm really excited to see how this all turns out because I mean, I don't get paid to do this. I don't get paid to say these things. I think that all of you have a legitimate chance at winning the game. So, and I have no stake in any of it because my winner pick went home a long time ago. So I honestly think that put in the right situations, all of you guys can win just based off of the stories that's been told, the story that has been told to us as an audience. It doesn't seem like anyone has been buried in the edit. It doesn't seem like anyone is being buried as far as, people giving confessionals about, this person is shit and has no chance. And I think that's once again a testament to production because those confessionals could just be happening in seconds being shown. Jordan, any final words, any final thoughts?
No, I mean, I do have to agree with what you just said. I think I was talking to some of my friends who are watching this too. And I agree. I think the editing is doing a great job of like all of the people that are left in the game have a path to the win. So I think that I agree. That's a great testament to the quality of the production and the editing. But yeah, I the only other thing I'll say about this episode was watching all of the other episodes has been super fun and like seeing what other people were talking about and scheming and whatever. This episode was so hard to watch and I knew it was coming. But there were things that were being said that I didn't know about, like J-Mac giving a confessional. Oh, Jordan is the person I trust the most in this entire game. And Lydia, oh, I want to go to the end with J-Mac and Jordan, even if I lose, I don't care. And I'm just watching all of this happen, knowing that I'm about to betray both of them. It was harder. It was almost harder to watch it back than it was to do it, because when I did it, I didn't have any of that context. When I did it, there was a little voice in my head that was like, well, J-Mac's not going to want to go to the end with me. Like, they're going to try and turn on me at some point, right? Like, I just have to get there first.
You have to rationalize it.
Yeah. Watching it back, I was like, oh my gosh, am I the villain here? Like, what did I just do?
Well, I will say, I texted Julia before we went live, and I said, hey, do you want me to ask Jordan any questions? And Julia just straight up said, how dare you, my winner. You voted out her winner. So I hope you can sleep at night knowing that you voted out Julia's winner.
I'm so sorry, Julia. I told you this before the thing, but I'm a little relieved that it's just the two of us, because I think if it had been both of you, I would have caught some heat today.
You saw my notes. I was fine with it. I was fine with it. I understood where it came from. And J-Mac was a great player, great
competitor, great storyteller, and I'm excited to see what their jury speech is like in a couple of weeks. I believe we only have two or three episodes. I can't remember.
I think it's two left.
So in a couple of weeks, and I'm hoping to have as many of y'all back as possible during that finale week. I think that would be great. Thank you all for continuing to tune in. Thank you to everyone from season 4 that has reached out to hop on here with us. We're hoping to have Julia back next week. I'm sure we will. Make sure to tune in for the penultimate episode in a few days, and we will see you all next week.